Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Rastakhan's Rumble final reveal stream is coming in just a couple of hours, but let's take a look at the few cards we have got before that one still, including some surprise Treant synergies that may change the landscape of Druid a little bit. So, let's take a look at the 6 cards that have been revealed over the past day. First up, more stuff for Pirate Rogue. Bloodsail Howler, a 2-mana 1/1 rush pirate with a battlecry to gain +1/+1 for each other pirate you control. This card has its upsides and its downsides, so it's obviously terrible with Captain Hooktusk, because you really don't want to pull this one from your deck. And it would be great if Patches was still in standard format, because if you could pull Patches and then you would have at least a couple of pirates, because you would like to have at least 2 pirates on the board when you play this. If you could play this as a 2-mana 3/3 with rush, you would be all cool with that. But right now it might be difficult to get 2 pirates on the board to play this, so it's borderline viable. It reminds me a little bit also of Biteweed, which was a rogue card which is completely unplayable. Combo gain +1/+1 for each other card you played this turn, simply not strong enough. And if you think about the way Biteweed was unplayable and the way Bloodsail Howler works, okay, you can't get those pirates on the board in a single turn to make Bloodsail Howler good. Some of the pirates have to survive already. Depends a lot on the meta and how often you're able to keep some pirates on the board. It's borderline playable, just borderline. Priest is getting a new removal spell, Mass Hysteria. Force each minion to attack another random minion for 5 mana. So the way Mass Hysteria works is that each minion will take a turn, it will attack another minion. Any minions that die in the immediate attack won't get the chance to attack again, and any minions that will be set to 0 health or less will not be eligible targets for other attacks. Also, all death rattles will trigger after all the attacks have been done. I think this looks like a pretty powerful card actually, because think about it, many decks play similar styles of minions, like Hunter plays a Greater Emerald Spellstone, you play Mass Hysteria, boom, everything dies. Paladin plays Level Up, you play Mass Hysteria, boom, everything dies. It is the boards that have a big minion and some small minions where this might not end up working. So if the opponent has a Mountain Giant on the board and a couple of small minions, okay, that Mountain Giant is still going to be left standing. So it is meta dependent, but there are lots of situations in Hearthstone where the board mostly consists of minions of somewhat equal size, and in those cases Mass Hysteria can be incredibly strong. The Beast Within is a new hunter spell. 1 mana, give a friendly beast +1/+1, then it attacks a random enemy minion. Overall, I don't think this is very strong. There are some pretty things that you can do with this, like you play Undasta, you attack with the Undasta, and then you Beast Within the Undasta so that it gets to attack again, but into a random enemy minion, so no targeted removal with this. Or you play a Cave Hydra, and you Beast Within the Cave Hydra, and boom, you get to do damage to multiple targets. But how are you going to get enough card draw to do all these fancy things? Maybe this can go into a Master's Call deck that really relies on beasts, and that way it can have more card draw in the deck. So there are very specific niche hunter decks that could make use of this, but overall you can't just put this in any hunter deck and use it like that. The Shaman Legendary Loa is Krag'wa the Frog, a 6-mana 4/6 beast with a battlecry. Return all spells you played last turn to your hand. Obviously a bit of a weak stat line for its mana cost, but an incredibly powerful battlecry effect. So a couple of clarifications on how this works. First of all, if you have just had an Unstable Evolution turn, you play Unstable Evolution, let's say you play it 5 times on the previous turn, and you play Krag'wa, you're going to get 5 copies of Unstable Evolution into your hand. So that means that you're going to have a good time Unstable Evolutioning for the rest of the game. So that's one really strong combo. However, it doesn't work quite as well with Zentimo, because Zentimo cast those 3 spells, but you only get 1 copy back. Same with Electra, you don't get the duplicate copy back, so only spells that you actually have cast yourself. There might also be some kind of use for this in an aggressive deck with the damage spells, and let's say Doomhammer and Rock by the Weapon, and you Rock by the Weapon and you hit some face, and next turn you play Krag'wa so that you can Rock by the Weapon again. This looks like a really interesting card. It requires some kind of specific deck for it, but there are multiple archetypes where it could fit in. I think this one's a pretty big deal. Treespeaker. 5 mana 4/4 with a battle cry to transform your Treants into 5/5 Ancients. And currently Treants are not seeing a ton of play. There were some variants of Treant Token Druid early on in the previous expansion, and Treants do see some play in Token Druid right now because, for example, Soul of the Forest makes you Treants. But on the other hand, stuff like Living Mana, which also makes you Treants, is not seeing a lot of play. However, the Treant Token Druid was only slightly weaker than the regular Token Druid, and now that the Treant Token Druid is getting a new tool to use, and the Taunt version of Token Druid was killed by the Giggling Inventor nerf, that means that there is some space open to innovate in the Token Druid deck type. And with Mulch Muncher being opened up, Living Mana, Soul of the Forest, Treespeaker, I can definitely see people trying a Treant version of Token Druid in the new expansion. Finally, we have a new mage spell, Scourge. A 4 mana spell, deal 4 damage to a minion. If you played an elemental last turn, this costs 1. So it's basically a Wing Blast for mage. But does mage use this? Because most elemental builds right now are very heavily minion focused, and they draw cards with Book of Spectres, which discards any spells drawn. But there is some interesting potential here for a not purely minion-based elemental mage, because Elemental Evocation was a card that was also recently revealed. 0 mana, next element you play this turn costs 2 less. And Elemental Evocation and Scourge are both very high tempo cards. You can cheat out elementals faster, you can use just 1 mana to do 4 damage removal, and you can also use your other mana to play more elementals. So there are some elements for an elemental tempo deck here. I'm not sure if it has enough support yet, but 2 very high tempo cards is definitely an interesting addition. Soon we're going to get the rest of the set, and stay tuned. I will be reviewing those in the coming days. The final reveal batch might be so big that I have to make a couple of videos to get through all of those, but that will be done in a couple of days, and this is looking like it's going to be a really exciting set. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.